Well, hello, friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome down the Nook. I thought I'd put out another quick value series release. This is like, in January, we're looking at bottles that could be a good value or might just be less expensive. So this time we're going to look at a bourbon. This is Old Grand Dad from Jim Beam. This is their high rye mash bill. It's a bottle and bond product, so 50%, minimum 4 years, and so on. I'll talk more about the whiskey when we come back, but why don't you grab a bourbon, pour a little bit, and I'll tell you my thoughts on Old Grand Dad bottle and bond. 3, 4. Thanks for coming back and joining me for actually the second review I'm going to put out today. It's in the value series. It's January, and I think we all need to be looking for whiskey that might be okay and is certainly easy on the pocketbook. So, this Old Grand Dad, I've talked about it a few times. I looked at my channel and I actually officially reviewed it like 3 4 years ago, well, 3 years ago. So it's getting a bit long in the tooth, so it's probably good to revisit. Old Grand Dad is a Jim Beam product. It's named after Basil Hayden, who was or is famously remembered as brewing high rye bourbon. And in keeping with that, this is Jim Beam's high rye mash bill. That's rumored to be about 27% rye. I can put the specifics here. And, the same as Basil Hayden, but unlike Basil Hayden, this is released at 50%. So 27% rye, nice lot of rye in here, and 50%. And as I said, unless it says otherwise, Bottle Bond's going to make sure it's a minimum 4 years, could be older, released under the guise of the same distiller. We'll see what this bourbon gives me today. So I'm pretty familiar with Old Grand Dad now. It's funny because back in 2019, I'd had it a little bit, but now I will admit, I've had a couple of bottles of this over the last couple of years. It is strong cinnamon, sweet caramel, a little bit of vanilla, certainly alcohol in the nose. It's not old, it's young, it's definitely 50%, so it's not for the shy. Yeah, a little bit of spice or bite I'm associating with rye, but it could be some casking, some oaking. But mostly kind of this interplay between like a sweet caramel and a spicier or hotter cinnamon. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. I've really grown to like the palate of Old Grand Dad. It is spicy, bitey, definitely aggressive. But I get a kind of a sweeter mashed fruit, a little bit of like maybe a cooked down apple. Still getting that caramel and vanilla, and then still getting that cinnamon, but it's hot. It's a bit spicy. Now that's that interplay between, youth and strong alcohol that's kind of biting on the edges, but it's definitely got some cinnamon carrying through. If I stay at it, well, let's try another sip. Cheers. If I stay at it, I sometimes get like I get a little more dark brown sugar, so some of the sweetness feels a bit more cooked. It's getting a little bit more interesting, and it gives a little bit of orange peel. So it's not like a really good expressive orange. It's not a delicious orange, but there's a little bit of orange peel or orange zest that I get in Old Grand Dad. Look, this is in my market $28 Canadian, which is, I don't know, $10 American. No, I was just kidding. But the point is, this is on the shelf, not a sale, multiple stores in my area for $28. I have come around to say this is one of the best values in my market for a bourbon that I enjoy. If I don't get as much classic Jim Beam peanut and whatnot in this mash bill that I get in their lower rye mash bill, but it's tasty. It works super well in cocktails, like just a really expressive old fashioned for me. And I don't mind it at all. Hey, it's a little bit youthful. It's a little bit aggressive. If you're new to bourbon, it's not going to be the first one I'm going to pour for you. It would probably beat up a little bit, and that would be disappointing. But because of the crazy value for me, this pushes into that like 3 3/4. And I look back at my last review and I was like between 3 and 3 1/4. I am moving this up a fair amount just because of the value and the flavor profile. For me, it's something I can pour and just enjoy without thinking. It's not complex. It's not going to win hearts and minds, but so far in this value series, this has been the winner. Thanks for joining me here again. Hope you're having a great weekend. And the next week coming up, I really do hope it's good. Hope the weather's fine, and I hope some of that COVID stuff's in the past, but we can get to work and just have a great week. You guys take care.